So I'm going to move us on to the corporate section and the corporate performance report, and we've covered some of what's in there in previous conversations, but I'll ask Marie just to pull out anything from the performance section.
So I won't repeat anything in respect to the fact is that people have got the report, they can see the report, we can see that there are some areas of improvement, but equally we can see that there are some areas of significant challenge. Not least of which are the areas in the improvement and assessment framework areas where you can see in the right-hand column the actions that we're taking to date. But with respect to these is that it is about us galvanising a range of individuals and, in some cases, the practices in terms of making sure that we have more stringent reporting around those areas. So in respect of the time, is that I'm just happy to take any questions, Kieran, rather than talk people through those performance areas.
Lynn.
Can I just make a comment for understanding? The IAF, which is all amber and red, this is an exception report, so all the green ones that are all right have been filtered out. Because it does look very negative, but it is just to keep us focused on the areas of greatest need.
Jenny.
Yeah, I just wanted to, contrary to my previous comment, commend the CCG and its staff for producing this new report. I think we should mention I think this is the first time it's been to the assurance meeting. I find it much easier and more helpful to work out what the real issues are, both in the constitutional targets but also some of the quality issues which are linked. The one thing it doesn't give me yet, and I'm not sure it may be in the finance report, is the trends on activity, which used to be in the corporate performance report. So just to question, will that be in the finance report in future or will it be here in future? I really like the trends over years. It gives me a much better idea about what's actually going on. So well done to the team and the staff for doing this. It's a good start.
Just to pick that point up if I can, this as you know, Jenny, this is an interim report.
I appreciate
There's a final report in terms of a format coming for next financial year. We wanted to ensure that Katie had an opportunity to put her stamp on that as well. But absolutely recognise the points that are made, and as you know, we pick those up in the Finance Committee, so we will take those forward.
Any other questions on performance? I think it is worth also reflecting. We had quite a long conversation on the performance stuff at Finance Performance Committee, so we'll move that bit on. David, on quality.
Indeed. Well, I hope you've had a chance to look at the new report. I'm happy to take any questions. Perhaps I'll just mention a few headlines. You'll see that we lead on mixed-sex accommodation breaches. The vast majority of those happen in Brighton, and we support Brighton and Hove CCG in investigating those and coming up with an action plan to try and sort that problem out. Closer to home, we've had an increase in QIF activity relating to One Call, our service provided by Sussex Community Trust. There was a clinical quality review meeting last week, some robust discussions and reports being produced that will come to the next quality committee. The team continues to look with great zeal at these serious infections that we like to investigate. That's C. diff, and more recently we've been concentrating on bloodborne infections of that bug known as MRSA, and where there is learning, we make sure that we spread that learning. So in the last case in particular, we thought there was some interesting clinical aspects. That's already been presented at a GP clinical meeting at St Richard's Hospital. It's been the subject of a Five to Thrive lecture. Five to Thrive is an education module that we produce once a week that allows our GPs to quickly in 5 minutes get an update of some CCG news. We're looking at how we'll roll that clinical information out to the Worthing GPs as well. IC24 has been of concern to us lately because of the problems with their rota fill and their safeguarding policies, but we do have an agreed action plan with them, and we'll be tracking that through the quality review meetings. There's a few headlines, but we're happy to take any other questions.
David, I just wanted to clarify that the concerns that are raised in QIF, particularly those about One Call, are not just being pursued through a quality process, but that are also being fed directly to the urgent care team, given that it is one of our biggest transformational projects, and we need to make sure that that information is actually taken in terms of service redesign.
So, Katie, I can assure you that that is the case. It goes back to Sarah Roberts, and she carries that forward.
David, there's a particular issue in the report about looked after children.
Yes, indeed. So the size of our looked after children safeguarding team is not in line with current guidelines. That's something which is very difficult to crack in the current financial situation where we simply can't employ more and more staff to join that team. But we're aware of the risk. We're putting in place mitigations to try to make sure that we do ensure that looked after children do get the very best of assessments and ongoing care.
Okay, so other than keeping that visible to us, is there any particular action you need us to take?
No, I think it is a case of increasing visibility and making sure that we look at those mitigations and ensure that they're working.
Thank you. I'll go on then. Thank you, David. Anything else for David? Okay, Glyn, Corporate Affairs.
I think it's all on the report. The only thing I will bring out of it is we brought the complaints and FOI process in-house in November. Since then, we've only had one breach. And the process of bringing it in-house has also given us other capabilities in which we've bought a system called Datex that should help us better manage risk going into the future.
Thank you. Any questions for Glyn? Okay, I will pass on then to the Business Assurance Framework.
Thank you, Kieran. The Business Assurance Framework, as you can see from the report, is something that we have been looking at and considering its how fit for purpose it is going forward. That we've had that session, as you can see, highlighted on the 21st of February, which we did as a group, which I think was really helpful. But equally, what we really need to do is to say that we have to redo our BAF in the light of updating some of the areas where we're seeing reducing risk, which we haven't shown necessarily in terms of some of the CHC, for example, the outstanding areas in relation to 18 weeks as well until we close the year down. But that equally we need to update the BAF in the light of our current situation, the financial recovery plan and, of course, the legal directions. So it's very much still work in progress. So what you have in front of you is an update in relation to some of the current BAF, but you will be seeing this changing now quite rapidly over the next couple of months to reflect the future.
Okay. Katie?
I guess it was a comment, which was when I read the report, it does strike me that at the beginning of the year we had identified actually what our major risks were. And I think probably the learning for us as we look at our governance review and look at what we want a BAF to do in the future is how do we make sure that our scrutiny makes sure the mitigations are actually in place, because if we've gone through the year saying these are our risks, that hasn't materialised into the way that we've done our business, and therefore all of those risks have in fact crystallised rather than been mitigated. So it was a point, but I think it's going to be very important for us as we take our BAF reporting forward. I mean, it has to underpin the way we work, I guess, is what I'm going to say. Otherwise, it's a piece of paper.
Thank you. Anyone else?